afternoon. Thank you for coming to our live hacking demo. Some of you, it might be morning. Some of you, it might be evening. So thank you for attending. And we are going to do a quick 10 to 15 minute hacking demo to really show you just how quick a hacker can take over your computer and how dangerous that could be for your business. So let's get started with that. Let's bring up the presentation. Actually, I want to introduce, we have Laura with us today, and Laura will be playing the victim. She's just the standard employee who may not be properly trained and see what havoc she can rip apart in a business network. So we are presenting, so what if a hacker gains access? Okay, so the agenda is we're going to do introductions, the live hacking demo, and then we're going to learn how to protect from hackers, and we'll try to do some Q&A if we have some. So I am Mike Bloomfield, the president Geek of Tekie Geek. We are a managed IT service provider headquartered in Staten Island, New York. We were a 2020 winner of the MSP 501. That means we were selected as one of the top 501 MSPs globally, so in the world. So that was quite an honor. We like to say we are Staten Island's most trusted IT advisor. We have four fundamental core services we offer: business continuity, managed IT services, cloud computing, and unified communication. So here's something to think about as we go through this. Hackers had access to victims' environments for 100 days before they were discovered. That was through a Verizon 2019 survey. 100 days. Hackers were in a business environment before you even realized the hacker was in there. So let's jump right to it and let's let the hacking begin. So let's set up the environment today. Laura, like I said earlier, is playing the employee. She's a bookkeeper. She's an office manager. She does a little bit of everything in the office, and we have her laptop. I am today playing the hacker. So what you're going to see is a victim environment, which represents, that's what you see on Laura's screen. We're going to be in the overview, and then you have the hacker environment on the bottom right. When I'm hacking, you're going to see the hacker environment, the overview, as well as on the bottom right, you will have the victim's environment. Let's pull up the victim's environment. Okay. So Laura is receiving email, and she's going ahead, and let's pull that up and show it. It's a trustworthy technician. So to Laura, she had a job description out there. Hackers do their research. They do social engineering. They are sophisticated. So here it looks like a regular email. It's addressed properly. Hey, please accept my attached resume. Laura goes ahead and opens up that Word document. Great. This document is protected. Opening the document in Microsoft Word, preview offline is not available. So if it's downloaded from the internet, go ahead and hit enable for editing. So actually, yeah, I'd like to double click it to open it. Sorry. So opening actual Word. So there you go. You have enable editing. The hackers are doing the work for you. They're basically saying, hey, look, they put a picture there and telling you how to enable editing. Microsoft by default does that as protection. This is where untrained employees can be risky. Now, again, just to note for today's demo, I have turned off the Tekie Geek security stack that normally runs on the laptops and desktops. If you have the proper security stack, we won't even allow it to go this far, but for the sake of the demo, we've turned it off. So here's Laura. She goes ahead, looks good. She hits enable and whoa, critical Microsoft Word error, incorrect Word version, cannot unprotect the document. What's that mean? So what are you going to do, Laura, in that case?
Probably just close it out. Maybe send it to someone who has the correct Microsoft Office to open it.
So at that point, Laura might try to reopen it and send it again, or she might have sent it to another employee or in the organization or even outside of the organization. Hey, can you help open this? I don't have the correct version. So if you notice when she did that, now go ahead and hit OK. It closes out. She might think to try again, and we're going to leave that like that. I'm going to jump to the hacker environment now. If you notice in the hacker environment, a message popped up. That said, a session was opened up. So as a hacker, all without anyone knowing, I'm going to go ahead and connect to that session. So just like that, by an untrained employee opening, sorry, I know you're trained, but by an untrained employee opening and enabling editing, now there is a connection. So now the first thing a hacker would want to do is grab what's known as a foothold. A foothold means I want to make it no matter when she shuts her computer off and turns it back on, I take control. So all I got to run is one simple command. I'm going to do that right now. And boom, I just took a foothold on her computer. No matter if Laura resets her computer, reboots it, shuts it down, loses internet, every time she connects up, it will reconnect to the hacker session. That's the first thing a hacker is going to do. They want to make that permanent connection. Again, they want to be in your computer for 100 days without you realizing. So, okay, a hacker's in my computer. What do they do? So let's do some scary demos. First thing I could do as a hacker, let me change into my directory. So I'm the hacker here. I'm now set up. I'm setting up the environment. I want to take a screenshot. Just like that, I took a screenshot. You saw it pop up. I open it up. And this is the screenshot of what is actually on Laura's computer. Laura, go ahead and, actually, you know what? I'm going to do one for you. I'm going to launch the calculator. So I'm now using a command to launch a program on her computer. I enter. Now, if you watch on her computer, you can see the little calculator icon flashing at the bottom. I've launched the calculator. Now, if I go ahead and do a screenshot, again, you're going to see that new screenshot I took now has that calculator in there. So a hacker, within 5 minutes, has access and is now taking screenshots of what you're doing. And we'll talk why that's scary more as we go on. But let's now do another. We're going to do what's known as a key scan and start that. So Laura is, I'm going to switch to the victim computer. Laura is now she's an employee. She's going ahead and opening QuickBooks. And she's going to go ahead and log into QuickBooks. Now, anyone here, if you want to throw in the comments a password that you would like Laura to use. Please don't give us a password that you use normally, but if you'd like to give us a password for her, now's the time. Throw it in the comments. So she's doing test@example.com. We're going to give it 15 seconds just to see if anyone throws a comment in. If not, we'll just come up with one. So we'd love to have a comment. We'd love to have someone throw it in. Do another couple of seconds. All right, let's do a random one then. Favorite color?
Green.
Green. I'm social engineering you. Go ahead. Do green. Capital G, and pick a random number. Don't tell me. And now she's going to go ahead and sign in. Now she's obviously that was a fake email, so we didn't get logged in. But let me switch back to our hacker environment here, and let me now do a key scan. Done. So the username was test@example.com, and the password was green, and it was 830.
So it was.
Green 666, and just like that, we could get in as well. But just like that, I am now able to stream and take everything that she is typing. So let's go a little further. Now I want to see what files she has on her computer. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to view her hard drive. I see, okay, the user is Tekie Geek. I'm going to go into her desktop. And I now see that on her desktop, she has a folder called important. So on the hacker environment, let me switch in. I'm sorry, I thought I was in the hacker environment. I'm switching in. I'm now browsing through. I'm going into CD important. And I'm going to go ahead and browse that. Oh, there's a folder there. Passed out. What's that? I'm going to download that file she has on her computer. Passed out.jpg. Just like that, I download it. I'm going to open that file. And there's a file of some guy passed out. He doesn't like the peanut butter crunch. So just like that, I downloaded a file. Well, want to see how easy it is to download all the files on that directory? I just do download star. And now you can see over here, every file on her computer is now in the process of downloading. Just as easy as it is for me to download files, I could also upload files. So I could upload a ransomware payload to her computer within a matter of seconds and execute that process and encrypt every file on her computer. But a hacker isn't going to do that right away. A hacker is going to do all of this through scripts to monitor. We are typing this today to show you what's possible. But what a hacker is really going to do is going to create a script that's going to take screenshots of your computer every 5 seconds. They're going to monitor everything you type on social media, Word, email, every password you enter. They're going to download your files. They may upload files. They're going to execute and put additional footloads. But let's get this even creepier because I have nothing better to do. So I'm going to do a webcam list. Oh, I see some webcams. What does that mean? So I'm going to go ahead and stream a webcam. Without you even knowing, a hacker could stream your webcam and see everything that you're coming out of your webcam without you knowing. So just by you opening an email, opening a Word document, not having the proper training and the proper security stack to protect your environment, be it most importantly business and even personal, they have a foothold and now could take hold. So that's pretty scary. So let's get back into the presentation because I think I scared you enough. You know, we took screenshots, we viewed the webcam, we downloaded files. So let's continue with the presentation. Okay. So the big question comes up, well, how do you protect yourself from a cyber breach? Well, unfortunately, there is not a single silver bullet to do that. We like to call it the 12 steps. So the first thing you have to do is a security assessment. You have to understand where your risks are within your business and to understand, do you already have a breach? If hackers are in there for 100 days, we could perform a security assessment and find out that day you have someone already in your system. Just like when you go to a doctor, you have to have an assessment before the remedy is prescribed to you. Same thing. You have to protect email. The job is to minimize risk. Our job is to make those emails not come through. Now, unfortunately, you can't stop every email, and that's where security awareness comes into place, which you also see. You have to train your team. You have to train them often. You have to fish your employees and find the weakest link and help to improve that weak link. Passwords. You have to stop using the same passwords everywhere. You can't write passwords down. You have to use a password management tool. Advanced endpoint security, extremely important. It's no longer the day of just having AV on your computer, antivirus. You now have to have advanced endpoint security, and it must be a multifaceted process. We have AV, we have malware protection, we have advanced endpoint protection. We also have active cyber breach monitoring on our client stack, which means we are actually actively monitoring to see if they have a breach and notify and stop it immediately and rectify that. Multi-factor authentication. I could give you right here on live my password to my Office 365 email, and you still will not be able to get into my account because every one of our tool sets is protected with multi-factor authentication. Computer updates, one that people skip. Microsoft releases updates to fix security holes. If you're not updating your computer, these security holes will continue to just exist. You must perform those updates. But as a business, you have to perform those updates when it makes the most sense for your business. You can't just go ahead and update in the middle of a workday. That's where a managed IT provider comes to maintenance windows when it will not affect productivity to your employees. Dark web research. The dark web is a scary place, and I can guarantee you that almost everyone has a password out on the dark web. You need to monitor the dark web or have a provider monitor that dark web for you and alert you when there is a username and password of yours on the dark web. That's why hackers are phishing. They're building these databases and they sell these databases. If you are using the Verizon, the Optimum, the Spectrum router that they give you, that is not a business class firewall. That is your entry point into your business network. You must have a business class firewall with intrusion detection and prevention. Like we spoke, multifaceted. You have to have numerous gates to block a hacker along the way. Encryption, whenever possible, any laptop must be encrypted. So even if you lost this laptop, they would not be able to get your data back. And then the most important piece is what we call the backup, but really it's business continuity. It's if everything else was to fail, that's what gives us the ability to get you right back up and running. We did have a live disaster demo where we showed a server get hit with ransomware, and within 5 minutes, we had that server back up and running off a business continuity appliance. Definitely recommend anyone watch that one. But all right, so what does downtime really cost your business? Well, it costs a lot. 64% of businesses lost business productivity. 45 of those percent of businesses had business-threatening downtime. By having a ransomware attack, business-threatening, they almost went out of business. The scary statistic that we actually don't have on this one is 74% of businesses that lose access to their data for 1 week close down within 1 year. I don't want to be a statistic. I don't know if you do. 33% of the infections spread to other devices on the network. That's what hackers do. They take a foothold and their job is to spread. They want to cause as much havoc as possible. And really, in today's day and age, they want to hold you for ransom. Many years ago, the average ransom was about $3,000. We have seen astronomical inclines on ransoms where the average is falling around $500,000 for a small business. We've seen small businesses with a $1.7 million ransom. As a small business with 20 employees, would you survive if you did not have your data and had a 1.7 million ransom held against it? 24% clients paid a ransom and recovered data. Just recently, it is being reported that Garmin paid a $10 million ransom to get their data back. So the additional cyber breach stack. So since January, the FTC has received over 125,000 complaints of scams and fraud related to COVID. The total loss of fraud tops $80 million, with victims losing a median amount of $274. That's not per business, that's per person. In the past 6 months, there have been 540 publicly reported data breaches among companies of all sizes. More than 3.2 million records were exposed in the 10 biggest data breaches in the first half of 2020. And 8 of the 10 largest breaches impacted medical or healthcare organizations, with 1 breach hitting a government agency and 1 breach striking an educational institution. We have a question from Frank. And I heard that hackers are targeting smaller mom and pop businesses because they are more vulnerable. Is that true? That is, let me grab over here. That is absolutely true. Why is that true? As a business owner, a mom and pop, you're that low-hanging fruit. You don't hear about many bank robberies. Why? Because robbing a bank is difficult and takes a lot to it. But you hear a lot of robberies in bodegas and small stores and mom and pop stores. Well, hackers are doing the same way. It's easier to go after the business that isn't properly protecting themselves. The business that's running the Verizon router doesn't have the proper endpoint protection, doesn't have a business continuity plan. So absolutely, Frank, you are right on. The small business is the low-hanging fruit and it is the most important to protect, because a small business would not survive a data breach. Garmin will survive a $10 million ransom. A small business will not survive maybe even a $100,000 ransom. It's cheaper to protect your environment than to pay after the fact. And like we have here, all it takes is one wrong click to cripple your business, and that is 100% true. Let's continue with the presentation. So, New York Shield Act. If you are a business in New York State and or doing business in New York State, New York has enacted the Shield Act. As currently, it is on hold in terms of regulation due to the ongoing pandemic. However, once the pandemic goes away and the NY Shield will be enacted again, they define a breach as any unauthorized access of digital data that compromises, endangers security, confidentiality, integrity of private information. Private information is anything that allows a business or a hacker to identify another person. name, phone number, email address, social security number, credit card number. So technically, if Laura was just hacked like she was in our demo, that breach needs to be reported to the New York State regulation within 72 hours under the SHIELD Act. Any type of unauthorized access. If your email gets phished and you give a hacker access to your email address accidentally, you have to report that to the board. Any person, entity holding private information in New York resident must disclose any breaches of computerized data, which includes private information. And you have to notify the Attorney General, the State Police, Department of State, Division of Consumer Protection. You have to legally provide this information. And it creates requirements for companies to implement reasonable safeguards to protect the security, confidentiality, and integrity of private data and business continuity. It is by doing business in New York, it is your job to protect that data. This isn't optional. This is a regulation that now is on any business that holds information for any New York resident. So if you're interested in finding out how strong your business backups, your business continuity, your security solutions are, you'll want to start with a security assessment like we spoke about. So an internal threat assessment technically usually costs $2,500. For joining this webinar, we're doing that in 50% off for up to 25 employees. So it's a presentation price of $1,250. We do a deep dive assessment of your network security. We check your backups. We determine where your biggest data risk is, and we help you build an action plan for securing that data. And then we schedule time to speak with you and go over everything that we found, including the external vulnerability scan of your network. We review those findings. Everything we do and discuss is confidential. And we sign a mutual NDA to show that your information is protected with us. No matter how bad we find your network to be, it's confidential. We review the findings with you, and we give you the options. You are not obligated to purchase anything else. You decide is your next move. We do security assessments for businesses that already work with IT providers. It is a good way to check to ensure that you are being properly protected. So we also are giving free giveaways just for attending as well. So all attendees will receive 1 month of free security training for you and your staff, up to 25 employees. And you simply have to sign up at bulletproof.tekiegeek.com. And we are also going to have a downtime calculator. So please watch in the comments. We'll get you a link to that where you can actually calculate the cost of downtime. So we hope you learned something today. And what we realize that the main mistake most business owners make is that of simple ignorance. So it's our job to strive to help inform and educate you while showing you the real life threats that exist by just clicking on one simple bad link or a wrong button. And this year has already been treacherous for many. And can a business that's already struggling survive a cyber attack? And hackers, unfortunately, have not taken the time off. They have used this to take advantage. So again, remember to grab your freebies at bulletproof.tekiegeek.com. We hope we didn't scare you too much. And follow us on social media, Twitter at TechGeek, Facebook at TechGeek, and Instagram at Techie_Geek. I guess we want to be a little different on that one. And thank you for joining us. And let me switch to the overview camera. So thank you, Laura. Thank you for playing the victim.
Of course.
And if you have any questions, please, you can either drop them in the comments and we'll answer you back through a message, as well as you could always reach us at tekiegeek.com, social media, you can find us, and we are here to help educate you, and we thank you for coming, and thank you for joining.